So, change from the inside out. Please help me welcome up Liz Jakoi, everybody.
For me, life was always painful. There were so many times in my life where I just wanted to die. But that's about as far as it went until February of 2014. Tears were pouring down my face. I clenched the steering wheel with one hand and I was pounding the steering wheel with my other hand saying, I can't take this anymore. I hate myself. And I could see this tall, humongous willow tree in the bend of the road ahead, and I thought, I wonder what would happen if I just put the pedal to the metal. But then my image of my teenage kids flashed before my eyes, and I thought, I can't leave them. I can't leave my kids. I love them too much, and I can't leave them with him. That night, I was driving home from a job that I hated. My boss was telling me that my co-workers were complaining, but he knew that that wasn't me. He knew that there was something going on. Something was not right with me. He called me into his office and he said, Liz, things need to change. You need to change. You're going down a path of self-destruction. You're going to end up 6 feet under. Then where will your kids be? I thought, I've heard this before, how things have to change. I have to change, or I could die. I was recovering from a torn meniscus, and the orthopedic surgeon said, you've got arthritis, we're gonna have to do a knee replacement, but you've gotta lose weight. Being 80 pounds overweight, my doctor said, you're obese, you're pre-diabetic, you've got high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Continue down this path and you're gonna die. And I'm like, I'm 56. I can't die. I just went into immediate denial. So life was starting to get serious in a way, and life was in the balance. I knew I had to change things. But sometimes we're not hearing things, right? We can hear things, but we're not listening. So let me ask you, how many times are you hearing things or seeing things that are signs for you, but you're not listening, right? Mm-hmm. Happens so many times. So I was 56 years old and I thought, I'm in a toxic environment. I've been bringing my kids up in this toxic environment. Things have to change. I have to change. But it's so hard. It's so difficult. I've tried so many times. The reason why I wanted to wrap my car around the tree was because I've tried so many things to change. I've tried so many things. I kept trying to change everything outside, thinking that that's going to change everything inside. But it didn't. So I knew that I had to make changes. And that was the first change, accepting the fact that I had to change. Because no matter how much I tried to change things on the outside, I felt that I was in this quicksand, and the more it pulled me down. Now, I've been here before. This was my third quicksand. You'd think I would have learned the first 2 times by dipping my toes in, but I managed to escape the 2 other quicksands, one in my 20s, one in my 30s. But this time, I was getting engulfed. The pain in my chest was so bad from all the self-loathing, the self-doubt, and the denial that I had been all my life. So I knew that I had to do something. So I decided to quit my job and spend some time on Liz, because up until this point, what I was doing was I was being everything for everyone else, but no one for me. So I thought I need to take the time. So I quit my job. And at the age of 57, I lost 80 pounds. At the age of 58, I decided I'm going to do my passion, which is helping people. And at 59, I finally left the loveless marriage of 24 years. And now at 61, here I am, a transformed woman, passionate, inspired, and I'm never going to go back to where I was 5 years ago. And I know that because there's 3 things that I've done to continue down this path and to get better and to evolve and grow as I go. And boy, it feels good. So look out 70s, 80s, and 90s because I'm just raring to go. I want to leave you with these 3 things that I've done, and I want you to remember that it's think it, do it, change it. Repeat after me. Think it, do it, change it. That's become my mantra because I get overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed today just knowing that I'm coming here, but it's like think it, do it, change it. Okay, what do I got, right? So what it was I started to think about what am I thinking? And I started to realize all those negative thoughts, like how poorly I was talking about myself. Like how unkind I was to myself, right? It was pretty bad. And I'm sure you've heard this before, is like you wouldn't talk to your girlfriend or your boyfriend that way, right? So why was I talking to myself that way? So that was the first thing that I started to realize. The other things I started to think about is this how I want my life to be? You know, being in this toxic environment. So I started to think about, okay, this is not how I want my life to be. I don't want to look in the rearview mirror anymore. I want to move forward. So how am I going to do that? So I started to think about what kind of life do I want to have? I know what I don't want, but what is it that I do want? So some of the things I started to do is I started to visualize about what kind of life I wanted. I wanted to be able to travel with my kids and walk in Europe. I mean, at that point, like 5 years ago, I could barely walk. And then my kids and I went to Budapest. So I started to visualize things. I started to visualize to be a speaker. So I found that when you started visualizing things seemed to happen. I started to meditate because that's what helped really quiet my mind inside. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's times where I'm meditating, but I can't because the brain keeps going and looping and looping and looping. But I swear that that looping has stopped from meditating. And then doing it is just following the process, is putting in place these action steps to make sure. I changed my schedule around, so I made sure that I take time in the morning to meditate, visualize, and personal development. Right? Books, things like You're a Badass, Radical Forgiveness. I don't know if you've read any of the Esther Hicks books too, all the Law of Attraction books, all those books. And so I read those and I devour books even on a continuous basis now. And change it is not a one and done deal, right? I mean, you guys can, right? It's not a one and done deal. It's something that you have to keep doing, keep revamping, keep remodifying, redesigning your life. So think it, do it, change it. And I want to leave you with one last thought. I still see that tree from time to time. But instead of looking at it as that moment when I wanted to kill myself, I look at it as a tree of hope. It's a pillar of strength. Because if you think about it, that tree has stood there for years and years battling Mother Nature, and yet the sun still shines. So I want you guys to think about yourselves as you are like that tree, battling demons inside and out, but the sun still shines on you.
Nice.
So think it, do it, change it. Thank you.